Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile for you, we're going over Shoutmon CrossSeven. It's a little bit different from our featured video earlier this week where we went over the Mirva pure build using the options, the memory options, again a ton of memory to just spam out Mirva as fast as possible and win. This build is a little bit more flexible in how it approaches things because of the fact that it has CrossSeven, which is an extremely powerful card that can help you out of situations a little bit differently. So I think this is going to be a little bit more well-rounded of a build that can go against other matchups. You can play this one a little bit slower. You don't have to use as much gambly types of cards like those memory gain options. So I think this deck is a little bit more flexible in the things that it can do, which is the biggest takeaway out of this. Also, don't forget our featured memory marker this month is Ballistamon, which is the baby form of Lugamon. So if you're a fan of those Seekers books or Seeker chapters right now, this is going to be a must-have. Super, super cute. It's got the little cute feet. It's got the fur on the sides here, which I'm like kind of holding on to a little bit. It's got the cute tail there, adorable face and ears. Love this little guy. He's handmade out of clay, hand-painted as well, all by my wife, Digimon. You can find this as our reward for Patreon this month, or you can find it on her Etsy page, link in the description below. Also there, you can find all of her previous memory markers that we featured on the channel for her in the past. However, some of those might be going away here soon. She has expressed that for whatever reason, one thing or another, she's going to start removing some of them off the availability. So if you're on the fence about getting one or two, you might want to go ahead and just pull the trigger, bite the bullet, and go ahead and snag them up, because I'm not sure which ones all are coming down, but she did express that there was a few that she thinks that she's going to go ahead and pull off. Also, if you guys are a fan of buying cards and singles online like I am, I recommend checking out cardtrader.com. I'll have a link in the description below that you can go and use to sign up. And you'll instantly get a free $2 to use on cardtrader.com. It's a great website because if you use their Card Trader Zero program, what they do is they gather all the cards that you're buying at their warehouse, and then they ship them to you for a single shipping cost. It sucks when you have to pay more for the shipping than you do the cards themselves. That's when cardtrader.com comes in clutch. So just use my link, go sign up, and get yourself free $2 and go start buying some singles. All right, and as forward, I've got the whole deck profile pulled up for you guys so you can kind of follow along with us and see just our talking points and how we go about it. Also, at the very end, I want to show another deck profile. If you watched our Mirva one earlier this week, it's the same one that I showed at the end of that. I think it's a really, really awesome cross build that I think might be potentially a way forward for the deck. Just kind of depends. Still need to try it out for myself, but I thought it was so awesome and so interesting that I wanted to show it as well. So we'll do that one at the end, but right now, let's go ahead and do this card by card here. You'll notice our ratios are pretty simple. We don't have any like too crazy of text or anything like that. Actually, we do have a card. It's not a couple cards actually that's not on there. There we go. So we don't have any like too crazy of text in this. I do have like a couple like little things like you'll notice the Gravity Crush at the end. I thought were a really cool addition to the deck that I wouldn't mind. So we're going to do the card by card, kind of explain why we run certain cards in here and why we run the ratios that we do. All right, first up for Pikmons, this is pretty much the only card you can run in Cross Heart. It's when attacking, draw one. Just really cool, really good starter card to go with. Drawing pieces is important. In a deck like this, where all of your cross pieces, you need all of these, basically all these level 4s and these rookies to basically Voltron together to make these high-end cards. You need to see all these pieces. There's a ton of pieces you need to see to be able to make these guys. Do you need to see every single one of them? No, not necessarily, but the more the better. So we're going to run a ton of draw cards as well as a ton of search cards as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. So Pikmons for our draw card. Our primary target that you pretty much always want to evo on top of him is going to be your Speromon. Because a lot of the other ones, you either want to hard play for a search, or like Ballistamon and Derulomon, you get to play them for free off the Tamers. So you don't really want to be evoing those guys. Of course, the other ones are level 4s, but you don't want to be evoing something like Shoutmon's going to give you a search in raising areas. So Speromon is pretty much your go-to. It gets a plus 3k on all turns as long as you have a tamer with cross. It has save, of course. All of our low-end stuff has save. This guy gives reboot, though. What's reboot is really, really powerful. Like a cross 5 has blocker there, and then you want to kind of, just keep your other stuff alive here. But Speromon is very much an essential card. Also, you can even slide it underneath your Mirva giving out blocker to everything with Crossheart. So that's going to be really strong with her. So she's going to have reboot blocker. So really cool, well-rounded card. It actually fits in multiple spots in the deck. Big fan of it. I believe the Z-Greymon here gives blocker to the CrossSeven. I was like, why doesn't CrossSeven have it built in? Oh yeah, it's Z-Greymon gives it blocker. So reboot goes on a lot of these guys, giving them blocker, reboot blocker, which is always a powerful combo. The backup choice is Starmon. Starmon's on top of Pikmons, of course. It's fitting, it's natural evolution there. But mainly because he doesn't have any kind of other special abilities here. He doesn't get played for free. So he's just an easy Evo target on top of Pikmons. Promote him up, swing him, get that draw off the Pikmons. He dies. You're going to save him under one of your Tamers and just keep on rocking on. No pun intended, because that's exactly what he's doing. But also he has the inheritable of when attacking, if he has Shoutmon a name, draw one. So more consistency cards, which is always good. Starmon's, unlike some of your lower end shouts, is pretty good. Next we have Shoutmon himself. He kind of makes the whole deck possible. The inheritable, I'm going to skip over the first part here. The inheritable gives rush. Rush basically makes this whole deck possible. You can slam out these level 4s, level 5s, even level 6s, and just speed through because they have rush, and then you can just immediately swing with them. This game, there's so much removal and ways to clear Digimon that just leaving bodies on field and hoping you can attack with them next turn is so difficult. So having a deck where just almost your whole deck gets rushed is really strong. So Shoutmon makes this whole deck really possible. So he's a must-have at 4. In addition to that, his on-play is a search. So 4 play cost, kind of expensive, but well worth it because you can reveal 3, add 1 Digimon card and 1 Tamer card with Crossheart in their traits to your hand, put the rest on the bottom of the deck. So a double whammy there. The whole deck you can pretty much hit. Even the other Tamers, they have Crossheart here in the trait. So if that kind of matters to you there. So yeah, you can a Digimon card and a Tamer card, but they have to both with Crossheart in their traits. So pretty good searcher though. He's a huge part of the deck. Even Mirva has Cross. However, Zeeg does not. Zeeg is only blue flare. I think we might have messed that up in our feature match. He's blue flare, which you can hit. Some stuff synergizes with. It doesn't matter if it's Crossheart or blue flare, but for Shoutmon it does. Next we have Ballistamon. You get to play him for free off the Zinjiro. He's going to be your blocker. Gives piercing as an inheritable here. So nice little additional card. Ballistamon and Derulomon are both just kind of in here because, one, they're needed for your crosses, as well as you get to play them for free off of your Tamers, your yellow and green Tamers, respectively. So that's kind of like a must. So when these guys get hit in security, like during your opponent's turn, you could play out these guys for free, and then they're free to attack on the next turn. So really strong cards. Next we got Derulomon. So if you have another Digimon or Tamer with Crossheart in the traits, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k until the end of your opponent's turn, which is really, really strong because then it kind of keeps your stuff alive during your opponent's turn so they can't run you over as easily, which is really nice. As well as, again, you hit one of the Tamers in security and they get to play out during your opponent's turn. You can, get this on play effect immediately to potentially kill a rookie or slow down maybe one of your opponent's bigger Digimon. Say you've got something like with blocker that's up, but all their stuff is just a little bit too big. This might be just the thing you need to bring it down below so that way your blockers are actually doing their job. So really strong card, really like Derulomon. The inheritable here is minus 2k on your opponent's security Digimon, which is also really nice because you usually do want your crosses to survive. You don't want them always to material save. Especially like Cross 4, you really want Cross 4 to survive, so you can use his end of attack ability. So we don't have jamming like the Hunter's deck does off the Clockmon, so we have to just survive, hopefully survive other ways. So minus 2k there is how we do it. Next, of course, we do have the Cross 4, limited to 1 for a very good reason, a very, very strong card. Material save 2 if he's deleted. On play, draw 2, really nice. End of attack by placing all Digivolution cards from under this Digimon under one of your Tamers, unsuspend one of your Tamers, and delete this Digimon. So you get to instantly save all the sources you used to cross with this guy back underneath something to immediately use for another cross, instantly going into something else. So that's kind of, part of the reason why he got limited is because you could just do one after another, after another, after another, as long as you had one memory, because that's all it took. And you could go after one after another over and over, and then just win the game outright, which is crazy strong. So the limit here made sense. And then Digicross -2, if you're not familiar, for every card listed here, you can pick one of them, and then -2 to the play cost. There's 4 different guys here, so you can -8 off this 9 play cost. 1 play cost on this. The cards underneath have to be in this order. It's important because of like de-digivolve. If you de-digivolve one, next it will always be the Shoutmon next, assuming you use that to cross. You don't have to use all of these. You can use one of them. They don't have to be in certain order. If you only have Starmons in hands, you can put Starmons underneath it to play this guy out for 7 and draw 2 if you really need to. Whatever the case may be. He's kind of like a trump card. You usually save your cross forwards. You don't use them too early if you don't have to. It's very much a like game finisher type of card now because of it's one of. Super good though. Next we got the Cross 3, which is kind of like a mini Cross 4. We've got a material save of 2. Start of your turn, you can delete this Digimon to gain 1 memory. I'm not a big fan of that. Some people I've seen use it. It doesn't always seem super worth it to me. I'd rather just attack with this guy again and get more like security checks, more value that way instead. But if you really just need the materials out, 2 of the materials out from underneath it, or you really just need that 1 extra memory, there are case-by-case situations where you would want to use this. But for me, often I'd just rather get another security check. But on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with Cross Heart and or Blue Flare. So this is a nice one. You can actually add the Z Greymon off this search here and add them to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. What's also nice about this is it's not like Tamer specific or Digimon specific. You can add the options because there are option cards with Cross Heart and Blue Flare in the traits. You can add Tamers, whatever the case may be. You want to add 2 Blue Flare Tamers or 2 Cross Heart Tamers, 2 Cross Heart options, whatever the combination, doesn't matter. And so he's a -2 for each one, so -6 in total. Again, a 1 play cost on him. Shoutmon, Ballistamon, Derulomon. Again, these are the ones you, in most builds, no matter which version of the deck you're playing, you're maxing out on 4 copies of each of these guys. So he's really easy to get into. That Shoutmon going to give him Rush. So 1 play cost, Rush. Super strong card. Big fan. And he's a searcher. So 1 play cost, get a search, got Rush. He's a strong card, and he's a 4 of in pretty much every build you ever see. For Cross 5 here, I decided to bump this down to 1. I did have it as a 2, but I really wanted to put Gravity Crush in. I had 1 slot left in the deck. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I could put in a 3rd Merva. I was like, you know what? I'll put in a Gravity Crush. I'm like, well, I don't want just 1 Gravity Crush. I kind of want 2 Gravity Crushes. It's like, well, what's the one thing I could take out? And I think Cross 5 came up simply because this is a Cross 7 list, and everything that goes into Cross 5 also goes into Cross 7. So if I'm going into Cross 7 using these sources, that's less that I've got available to go into a Cross 5. So I was like, all right, I'll cut the Cross 5 down simply because I've got the Cross 7s that also need the same materials. So Cross 5 here, security attack +1, so he's pretty strong. Get some extra checks in. Blocker, he's got Speromon that he can use for that reboot, so he's a reboot blocker. Material save 3, which is nice. It takes 5 materials to make this guy though, but you can play him for free. If you have all 5 materials, you can make his play cost 0. So 0 play cost with Rush, security attack +1. Crazy good. Feels really, really good. Big fan. He's going to have piercing as well because of the Ballistamon. He's got a lot going for him. Big fan of Cross 5, actually. I really, really like Cross 5 a whole lot. I think he's a really strong Digimon. The issue is you just don't want to see him too early. Since he takes 5 materials to make, you need to see all 5 of these before you can make him, like, good. So you don't want to see this guy early game. So usually at a 2 of is where you see this guy because you want to see him about the mid game. to start putting in some really good damage. Next, we've got the Mirvamon, which I'm still running this at 2 of. This card is still super strong. We don't. The reason I kept it on one of the Gravity Crush in is because of Mirvamon. I think she's still a fantastic game finisher. If you're in the right situation, your opponent puts you at enough memory, you can use maybe a Cross 3. You can use a Taiki, Kiriha, Nene, the Trio Tamer, and a Gravity Crush. You can get yourself up to the 8 memory needed for this to pop off and win you the game. So I still wanted to keep this in here. I think it's a really strong card. If you would Digicross with it, you can use cards from your trash, which is really strong. It's a Digicross -3, 1 card with Cross Heart in the trait, so it's like the whole deck. So she's an 8 play cost. A big popular one is to put Speromon underneath her, because she's going to become a reboot blocker. 8 play cost, 12k DP. You can make her a little bit cheaper through other ways, which we'll talk about when we get to the Tamers. But on play or when Digivolving, you can Digivolve her on top of Cross 5 specifically. You may play 1 purple, level 4 or lower Digimon card, or level 4 or lower Digimon card with Cross Heart in its trait from your trash without paying its cost. If Digicrossing, add 1 to the number, you can play with this effect. So typically you're going to play her out for 8. Play out 2 Digimon, and then all turns, all of your Digimon with Cross Heart and their traits get or Retaliation, gain Rush and Blocker. So play it for 8, you get 2 bodies, you can immediately rush with those 2 bodies for a game. Super popular. Like, that's why you run Mirva. But also, even if you had to pass turn a little bit, just putting out 2 bodies, now you've got 3 blockers. Mirva herself, and the 2 bodies that she played, that's 3 blockers instantly. That's really, really strong. 8 play cost, totally worth it for that situation right there. Definitely am a fan of it. But you can still mitigate her. So 8 play cost. Zinjiro is our next one here. On play, you can play out a Ballistamon for free. And then your turn, when you play a Digimon with Cross Heart in its traits, so it's anything with Cross Heart. If you just hard play anything, Shoutmon, the rookie Shoutmon for a search, whatever, you can suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory. You can also use him with Mirva here, so really strong. So if you have like 4 Zinjiros as an example, that 8 play cost is now a 4 play cost, way more manageable. Okay, so 1 Gravity Crush can literally just like win you the game right there. So that's really fantastic. Him getting hit in security, playing a Ballistamon with blocker on your opponent's turn is really strong. Same with Akari here on play. You can play out the Derulo. That Derulo giving that -3k on your opponent's turn, really strong. Now, in hers is when you play out a Digimon with Cross Heart, you can suspend her to draw 1. Again, this is only on your turn though, so kind of just keep that in mind. But the first effects are still good. They still apply during your opponent's turn. And the on play of your like Derulomon still works during your opponent's turn. So yeah, we're both fantastic cards. Next, we got the Taiki here, which is a great searcher for the deck. On play, reveal the top 4 cards, add 1 card with Cross Heart and its traits among them to your hand, and place 1 Digimon card with Cross Heart and its traits among them under this Tamer. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. Again, I think it was this or the Shoutmon, but we put a Z Greymon underneath it, which Z Greymon is only blue flare. So some of your searchers don't hit him, some of them do. Like Cross 3 does hit Zeke, so just kind of be careful about that. Zeke is only blue flare. He is blue, so hopefully it helps. And then your turn, when you would play Digimon card with Digicross requirements, by suspending this Tamer, you may place cards from under your Tamers, any of them, as the Digivolution cards for Digicrossing. All right, next up, we have CrossSeven himself, which is kind of like the center point of the deck. Like, we're doing a lot of stuff that's just kind of like rushing as fast as possible, right? But unlike the Mirva, where that's all we do, we just do it even faster in that build. This is where the flexibility comes in. CrossSeven, he has Rush built in. He's got Material Save 4, like a lot of standard stuff. But on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. And in all turns, for every 2 cards in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, it gets plus 1k DP. Starts at 13. You can Material Save with, you can Digicross with 6 things at -2 each. So it's a -12. So he's a 2 play cost Mega here with Rush, and if you use all these things, he's going to have like Security Attack +1 and like lots and lots of stuff. So he can be up to 19k. So it's pretty much he can delete anything he wants. So that's why I'm a big fan of the CrossSeven, is because he's got that deletion effect, which is really good. And and he can be really flexible. If you only got 2 or 3 of the materials, you can still slam him out for an 8 play cost. And he's basically Gaia Force. He's like a walking Gaia Force at that point. So really strong card, and makes the deck more flexible, I think, as well as not only is he Gaia Force on legs, but he is like, he didn't skip leg day. All right, so he's a massive DP. He can slide the Omni Shoutmon underneath of him, giving him Security Attack +1. You can use the Zinjiro as one of his other ones that he can cross with to give him blocker. So yeah, he's a beast. Okay, you get him on field, he's in a really good position. Granted, he is susceptible to removal, so keep that in mind. Pretty much any kind of removal really ruins his day. Thankfully, his DP boost is all turns, so even some DP minus, it's going to take a lot of DP minusing to like actually finish him off, especially if he's at that full 19k. So that's what makes this one a little bit more flexible. It's just the CrossSeven here. And then the Taiki and Kiriha Nene to kind of... you really need to see pieces. He takes 6 different things to cross with. Yes, he's a CrossSeven, I know, but his only crosses with 6 things. It's a whole thing. It's the Omni Shoutmon, basically, I think, is what it kind of throws it off a little bit there. But you need to see a ton of pieces to go into him. So the Trio Tamer here, start of your main phase by placing 1 Digimon card with Crossheart or Blue Flare in its traits from your hand under this Tamer. Gain 1 memory, draw 1. So great target for your Omni Shoutmon and your Zinjiro is to put them underneath this Tamer to gain 1, draw 1, because they're not going to do any good outside of literally digi-crossing for CrossSeven. And then your turn is the same as the Taiki. You can suspend them to use the sources underneath any of your Tamers. So strong card for the CrossSeven build. I like it for the CrossSeven just because you need so many pieces. In the Mirva Turbo, it's like she doesn't care what it is. It's like, it's got cross? All right, good. We're good to go. I'm going to play it for free. It's going to rush. It's going to like smash his face into the wall, and we're going to keep moving. So combo pieces is way less important for that deck, whereas in this one it's a little bit more important. So that's why we run these guys, just to kind of help things all along a little bit, as well as if you don't have Taiki, if you don't see your one of your 4 Taikis, this is a pseudo Taiki as well, for that suspension effect. And then rounding out the list, we got 2 Gravity Crushes, which I kind of already talked about multiple times. Really wanted to fit them in. Gain 2 memory at the end of your turn, lose 2 memory. I explained this in the Mirva video, but this is at the end of your turn, lose 2 memory. If your opponent has a memory fixer, this goes off before the memory fixer sets them to 3. So if you put your opponent to 1, they'll gain the 3 from the Gravity Crush, and then start of their turn, if they're at less than 3, they go up. Okay, so this is a great card to play when your opponent has a memory fixer, because then it's not going to matter as much, especially if you can kind of time it, or you can like work the memory out. That's like, oh, I can Gravity Crush, I can put them to 1, and it's like Gravity Crush didn't even matter because I got a memory fixer anyway. So if someone tries to argue with that, call a judge or something, because this specifically says at the end of turn, lose 2 memory, and then the memory fixer says at the start of your turn, go to 3 if you have less. So completely different timings. They interact at completely different points in the game. This one goes first. All right, so that is the total of the deck. I think it's really good. It's really fast. I think fast decks are going to be in a great position this format. They do struggle in certain matchups, but thankfully the matches where like the Mirvamon Rush deck suffers, if you're just doing the Rush version of it, you can kind of, in certain matchups, be in a disadvantage. Whereas if you also have the CrossSeven engine teched in, when you play against those matches, you have the out for those, the big bad blockers, the multi blockers, whatever, like War Greymon that gets to block twice, basically, Black War Greymon X that can redirect and block. double blockers really hurt decks like this that are super rush oriented. But CrossSeven just kind of puts them in check. Like, even if they use their ability to survive the deletion effect, it's still 19k with piercing swinging in. They're not going to stop it, right? They're not going to block it because it's got piercing. So what's the point? I believe it has piercing. Let me double check that. Derulo Ballista. Yes, okay, it does have the Ballista there. So yeah, they're not going to block it. So you still have CrossSeven. Even if it can't clear the threat, it can still keep swinging security attack +1, clearing threat or clearing out the security and getting lethal set up. Eventually, they will have to block it or answer it somehow, some way. All turns, it's going to have a massive DP buff, so they're going to have to really work for it once CrossSeven hits if they don't have any kind of removal options. And that's the total of the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. I do want to show that other build right quick that I'm really liking. Again, this is on Vicio Sano Facebook page. They are, I believe, a Latin America Facebook group, so a lot of their stuff is in Spanish, but they have a lot of great stuff. I don't speak Spanish, but you know what? Facebook translates for me, so it works. They post some cool stuff, reveals that come out in JP, like day of. They're like, here you go, got it. And it's like really nice, clear images, great translated text, all that fun stuff. And they post like really cool tournament results for something that, a lot of us players might not get to see that side. They're covering it for us. So thank you guys. I appreciate you covering that part of the world for us so we can see some cool tournaments. So the one that really caught my eye, and I very rarely put other people's deck profiles out on like this on the channel, but this one blew me away. They combined the Hunter's deck with the Crossheart deck. Like, we felt like we could have done this from the beginning, but it was just like the ratios just never really worked out, and we weren't a big fan of it. This guy made it work. He got first place with this deck. Really thought it was cool. So he took the Mirva engine completely out. He took the CrossSeven engine out. So he's still working with the core build idea, right? You got your Taikis, your Zinjiros, your Akaris, right? You've got your Cross 4, your Cross 3, and your Cross 5 in here. But then for the other punch factor, he's worked in Hunter. So he's got the Derulomon Superior mode. So he's going to have a really nice way of clearing out the opponent's, the stuff. He's a level 5, so he can go on top of like a Cross 3 or a Cross 4 here. Maybe not a Cross 4. You probably don't want to use up your Cross 4 like that. But maybe. In the right situations, you need to clear a big threat, whatever it is. A Derulomon, bottom source something with it, and then trash all of its sources. Powerful card. So really like the Derulomon tech in here, and they also have the Shoutmon King version as well, which is the best one from the Hunter's deck in my opinion. It's the one that gets the guaranteed plays from hand. So you're running all of the old Taikis and 2 of the new ones, so that's going to be 6 targets as well as the U, so it's 8 targets for him out of the deck. That's really strong. The Taiki and U are basically the same thing the Trio Tamer does, in 2 different bodies. One is going to, you source something, you draw a card. The other one, you source something, you gain 1 memory. But where they differ is when you digivolve into something that has save, you can suspend them to slide more sources underneath to reduce the evo cost, because that's what the Hunter's deck does. So you can go into your superior modes here for very cheap, which is, really essential for that deck because it's normally a 4 evo cost, pretty expensive. But you can, make this way more manageable. What this does is provides an out to normally unoutable things. We talked about in my build, it's like you go against Black War Greymon X, like sure, any of those that have that protection, you can play it and you can't kill it, but at least you got a big body you can swing with. With this, they're like, no, it's gone. Get it out of here. I don't care. Put it underneath a Tamer, put it on another Digimon, I don't care. It's off the board. Your big threat is out of here. And it's a really nice, efficient way of dealing with threats. So I'm a big fan of it. Also, they teched in Congo here. They got the U as well as the Cross 5. I thought that was pretty spicy. Normally I don't do spicy stuff, but they went heavy on it. They went to a 2 of for Congo. So like awesome. Yeah, no one ofs here if they can help it. and I'm all for it. If you're going to play a card, if it's good enough for you to put it in your deck, it's good enough to put in as 2 of, unless the game specifically says you can only run 1 of it, like the Cross 4. So yeah, that's awesome. Stop your opponent from just like rushing you down in the mirror match. Also stopping the recovery in those matchups as well. Security control, whatever it is. It's like, oh my god, I almost got him. I got him down to 2. I just need 1 more turn. As long as they don't recover, I'm just going to pass turn with a Congo, and I got this. Yeah, Congo is a super strong card. 3 Gravity Crush, though. So, they're still going for it here. I don't know if you need 3 Gravity Crush without Mirva, but, whatever. His build, he made it work. I don't know what I would drop Gravity Crush and add 1 of in here. Like, you have everything you need, so I don't really think there's anything that I'm seeing that needs to go up any. So, maybe 3 of Gravity Crush is just fine. Now, it looks... Nothing comes to mind right here looking at it of like, oh, I wish I had more of it. Maybe a Zinjiro. I don't know if that's even necessary. But yeah, so cool deck. Congrats. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want to see. If you made it this far already, let me know what kind of deck profile you guys want to see. I'm about to start the EX4 decks, so I'm curious to see what everyone's excited for EX4.